You're listening to
such a short amount of time to do it in.
a Mamamia podcast.
Hi there and welcome to Cancelled, a podcast from Mamamia about who's in, who's out and who cares. I'm Clare Stephens. I'm an editor and a writer. And I'm Jessie Stephens. I'm an author, a writer, podcaster at Mamamia and Clare's twin. And I co-host this podcast, which follows the stories of celebrity cancellations. And then we, two very powerful people, some might say, we decide the appropriate punishment. Jessie, it's a job someone has to do, and we've taken it upon ourselves to do it. And you might ask, hey guys, how do you choose who to do each week? If we did a Q&A, that might be one of the questions. Yes. No one has asked, but we imagine they probably wonder. They do wonder.
Great question,
Jessie, how would you describe our process? Look, I love discussing the craft. Yeah. I'm an artist. And look, simply the way we choose who we're going to do, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a feeling. It's a, feel a bit weird about them. Yes. Should we do a Google? Today. Just today. Yeah. And so I think that's really the platform by which we decided today's subject, Claire. Who is it? Thomas Cruise Mapother IV. I wish I was joking, but that is Tom Cruise's full name.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Cruise!
Tom, would you mind just saying hello down that camera to our virtual audience at home?
Yes.
So people are watching.
Hello, virtual audience.
You're stepping over a line now.
Okay.
You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
So today we're talking about Tom Cruise, and my structure is as follows. 1, Scientology. Unsurprising that that's number 1. B, arrogance.
Well said.
I, being too intense. And F, women ?
Okay.
Yeah.
Women ... question mark.
Yeah. But we can probably remove the question mark. Let's be real.
Okay.
Let's get stuck in, Jessie. There is so much to cover. So, Scientology. As in all court cases, it's important that we bring someone's personal religion to the table. In court, they tender. What religion? That's weird.
And how do we feel about it?
That's the thing. It's like, is that religion okay? It seems legitimate. Is it a little bit too much? Scientology, yes. Yes, it's a cult. For Tom Cruise, that religion is Scientology, which honestly feels less religion and more culty. But you can't really say that out loud.
You can't, but it's a cult.
It's a cult. What is Scientology? According to its website, Scientology is a religion that offers a precise path leading to a complete and certain understanding of one's true spiritual nature and one's relationship to self, family, groups, mankind, all life forms, the material universe, the spiritual universe, and the supreme being.
Okay.
You might think, I don't really understand that sentence, but Jessie, that is all to say Scientology is a little bit about aliens.
All right.
Basically, Scientology believes that we are all actually Thetans. The Thetan has had innumerable past lives. Some of those past lives occurred extraterrestrially, like in space, I guess. When you join Scientology, you go through a practice called auditing, which brings you in touch with your past lives. The guy who created Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, was actually convicted of fraud in a French court in 1978, which we're sure is totally unrelated to him creating a fake religion.
Okay.
It's feeling a bit
spaceshipy.
It's a bit spaceshipy.
A bit alien-y.
The Church of Scientology has been described by government inquiries, parliamentary inquiries, scholars, lawyers, and courts, including this court, as a dangerous cult and a manipulative, profit-making business. So, Jessie, what does any of this have to do with our cancelled episode on Tom Cruise?
I can't imagine.
He's a fucking hardcore Thetan. You could say the most famous Thetan that there is.
I feel like even talking about Scientology in this way,
Scientologists are going to get mad. We're going to get some phone calls from private numbers.
Yeah.
With breathing down the phone. You know who it is? L. Ron Hubbard. Jesse's not alive anymore.
I'm pretty sure he's meant to be a model. That's the whole thing.
But now maybe he's an alien.
Yeah.
So alien L. Ron Hubbard is in his spaceship orbiting Mars.
Don't be mean.
About my religion. That's what he's going to say.
You guys being mean. And I'm going to leave.
You know how we get those text messages that's clearly a virus?
Yeah.
It's like, pick up your package. And you're like, I don't think I have a package. That's a Ron Hubbard.
I agree.
Tom Cruise was introduced to Scientology by his ex-wife, Mimi Rogers, in 1987. That's a long time to be a Scientologist. He has since said that it helped him overcome his dyslexia, which he had from a young age, and it's also helped him do stunts and stuff. Kept him safe.
You know how we were talking last week with The Biggest Loser about how if you spent 15 minutes trying to convince me I was sad, I'd probably go along with it.
Yeah.
I'd probably have some kind of breakthrough. The thing about Scientology is that they sit you down and they do a weird process where they convince you that your ancestors are aliens and that you remember.
I might believe
I
that.
reckon give me 30 minutes on a bad day and I remember them. And I go, I am a Thetan. I'm a Thetan. I'm an alien. I came here on a spaceship and I remember it all.
And then you sound crazy and then you become more galvanised because you're like, I'm a Thetan and you don't believe me.
Yes, everyone's the enemy.
Yes. Apparently, Scientology was behind the breakdown of Tom Cruise's marriage to Nicole Kidman. She never joined Scientology, which, I mean, respect. It makes me respect her in a totally new way, but it made her a suppressive person. You might remember that Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise adopted 2 kids together, Bella and Connor, who are now 28 and 26. And since Nicole and Tom's divorce in 2001, she has barely seen either of them because of their ties to Scientology and the fact that they believe their mother is a suppressive person. According to an insider, Scientology actually put a wiretap on Nicole Kidman, which Cruise's lawyer denies, but like as if you would admit to that.
I love how every claim in every article about this is something hectic that Tom Cruise did, and then it's like his lawyer denies that. It's like, yeah, you would.
You wouldn't admit to that.
And it's not what you want people saying about your fake religion. No, it's not good marketing.
It's not. Basically, they felt that Nicole was pulling Tom away from Scientology, and so they kept a close eye on them until they managed to get rid of Nicole. Then came Project Find Tom a New Girlfriend. Tom Cruise is single. He has got these 2 kids who, luckily, he has totally converted to Scientology, but he needs a girlfriend. What happens? Scientology helps. Your religion needs to help when you're single.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why be part of the religion?
It's like Married at First Sight.
Yeah, but Scientology edition.
Yeah.
It's alleged that Scientology leaders set up a secret project to find Tom a new girlfriend after he broke up with Penelope Cruz because she refused to give up her Buddhism, which feels really fair. Apparently, there was a series of auditions to be Tom Cruise's girlfriend, which brings us to a woman named Nazanin Boniardi. According to Boniardi, who was also a Scientologist, she was told to remove her braces, fix her hair, and end her relationship with her long-term boyfriend, and without her knowledge, she was auditioning to be Tom Cruise's new girlfriend.
I know this isn't the overwhelming point, but how does one remove their own braces?
Go to an orthodontist and they're like, your braces aren't finished yet. And you're like, oh, I'm auditioning to be Tom Cruise's new girlfriend. Take them off.
Get them off. I'm imagining her in front of the mirror, like, pulling them.
Yeah.
Being like, get off. I've got to see Tom.
She was flown to New York by the church and started seeing Cruise in late 2004. And she says that at the beginning of the relationship, he was very romantic, but as it progressed, he began to have temper tantrums and he began to show violent tendencies.
So the guy who outsourced finding a girlfriend through his cult ended up not being a good boyfriend.
Not being
Who'd have
very
thunk it?
nice. And the temper tantrums thing, we'll get to them because he doesn't just have them in private. It got weirder. According to Vanity Fair, every time she did something Cruise didn't approve of, he would tell the church and they'd fix it. For example, he won the Scientology Freedom Medal of Valor, and she said, very well done. Cruise found that patronising, and then she had to have hours of auditing to rid herself of negative thoughts about Cruise.
We've discussed this in a previous episode, but it is a charge that honestly needs to be discussed more, and that is one of dobbing.
Yeah.
Because Tom Cruise is being a dibber-jobber. It's one of the worst things he can be. He was dobbing on his girlfriend to his Scientology friends and getting her in trouble. And getting people in trouble is another thing that I take issue with when it comes to Tom Cruise.
Agreed. He then requested her hair be changed again, that her teeth be filed down, probably because she ruined them from removing her own braces.
Yeah,
anyway,
they're all chipped.
Anyway, eventually she said something that offended David Miscavige, who is Tom Cruise's best friend. And he's the head of Scientology, and apparently Tom turned on her. And my favourite part is that he didn't break up with her. The church just told her to move out. And when she was like, why can't Tom break up with me himself? They said he wasn't to be disturbed.
Okay. Tom Cruise ghosted her, but was still present. It's the worst ghosting.
Can't get your church to do the breaking up.
Make her leave.
Make her leave, David.
David just had her removed. Take the braces with her.
Take them with her.
She can grow her teeth back. Tom, teeth don't grow back.
After their relationship ended in January 2005, she shared what happened with a fellow church member. They didn't like that. And they made her dig ditches at midnight and scrub the floors, and she was escorted wherever she went. She also said she felt like a victim of slavery.
Look, do we know if Tom demanded that she dig the ditches, or did he just not stop?
I think he demanded.
Okay.
He got it from a movie probably.
What for?
For not being genuine when she was congratulating.
I mean, what were the ditches for? You can't just get someone.
Graves.
Scientology graves?
Scientology graves.
Okay.
Which we'll get to who's probably in that freaking grave. Because I have a theory. She has since left the church, which is unsurprising. Then there was Katie Holmes, who Cruise proposed to 8 weeks after meeting. She converted to Scientology from Catholicism. Now, David Miscavige, that head of Scientology, has been Cruise's best man twice. Too many times, weird vibe.
I feel like Tom is that friend. Everyone has that friend who's a little bit obsessed, right?
Okay.
We have a friend who's obsessed with fishing.
Yes.
It's all about fishing lines, lures, cod, I don't know, other such words.
Yes.
Tom is like that, but with Scientology. And David being his best man is an indication of that. That everyone just wants to go to a wedding and he's like, the head of Scientology is on my altar in my Scientologist church.
And everyone's like, does he have to be?
Does he have to be? We don't care. You're being annoying about it.
Speaking of people who need to be cancelled along the way, because sometimes we do talk on this podcast. Yes, there is a focus of the cancelled episode, but there are people who need to be cancelled along the way. David Miscavige, his wife is really missing. Like, really missing. For over a decade, she hasn't been seen, Jessie. Shelley.
What?
She hasn't been seen. And David Miscavige is being really weird about it.
What does he say when people ask?
He doesn't seem to acknowledge that she is missing.
Okay.
There's a podcast about it.
Scientology doesn't appear to like women. There, I said it.
No, neither does Tom Cruise. Holmes was pregnant a few months later and Cruise purchased his own sonogram, eliciting a warning from the FDA saying private use of a sonogram violates the law. Very Pete Evans of him.
He wanted to get in touch with his little Thetan.
Hello, Thetan.
Hi, Thetan.
Hey, Thetan. The baby's like, what?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's been reported that Katie Holmes had a silent birth. In the lead up to the birth, reports of this were denied until photos were taken of large placards being delivered to the couple's mansion bearing instructions for the silent birth, such as be silent and make all physical movements slow and understandable. The Church of Scientology International website says the idea of silent birth is based on L. Ron Hubbard's research into the mind and spirit. He found that words spoken during moments of pain and unconsciousness, which, how are you speaking during unconsciousness, but anyway, can have adverse effects on an individual later in life. The website also says mothers naturally want to give their baby the best possible start in life and thus keep the birth as quiet as possible. How do you feel about silent birth?
I don't like it.
I don't think Katie liked it. She bloody had one.
It's like Tom is really sensitive to noise, so he found a rule.
Yeah.
Because he was like, let's have a quiet afternoon. She was like, oh, the baby's due.
I find labour stressful.
Yeah.
So you be shush.
Noisy and annoying. So I found a rule that says you got to shush.
You can't.
Not even animals are shushed when they're giving birth.
It ain't
You
right.
women, they moo.
Let them oink.
Let them oink if they want to. Let them swear.
Oh, it makes me so mad. Now, it's one thing to be a Scientologist and it's another to be annoying about it. And apparently Tom Cruise keeps donating all his money to Scientology, which must be annoying for his wives and children. He also keeps lobbying countries to make it a religion. In 2005, he lobbied a French minister so hard that they barred any further dealings with him. He's also lobbied the British Prime Minister, and he has also tried to get a bunch of his celebrity friends like James Packer, the Beckhams, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, all of them to be Scientologists.
This is a theme, another theme, that Tom Cruise is annoying about Scientology.
Yeah.
You pray to your thetan.
Yeah.
You pray to your Sea Org.
You do your auditing.
You do your auditing. You look in your telescope. You make your language with the aliens. I have no problem with that. I am respectful. I need you to leave the Prime Minister of Britain alone.
He has more important things to do.
I need you to leave them alone. I need you to leave the Beckhams alone.
Yeah.
They have their own things
They
that they're
do.
doing, and you need to relax.
Tom Cruise is that friend who's trying to get you involved in their MLM. And he
Okay,
sends you a
yes.
message and he's like,
Yes.
hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. How are you going? You're like, oh, Tom, good. How are you? Yeah, good. Do you want to be part of my religion? No. There are also reports that Cruise, who has reached the operating Thetan 6 level in the Church of Scientology, claims that he now has the power to heal sprained joints, colds and sore throats just with a touch. During filming, sometimes he hands out Scientology pamphlets.
Again, he's being annoying about it.
It's annoying. And look, we're going to finish this particular segment on Scientology with a bit of a video. In January 2008, an internal Scientology video of Cruise got leaked to Gawker.com and it instantly went viral.
As you drive past, you know you have to do something about it because you know you're the only one that can really help. But that's what drives me, is that I know that we have an opportunity and to really help for the first time, effectively change people's lives.
There's a little bit of arrogance in that Scientology video that we just listened to. Jesse, you might have noticed that he does think he's changing the world. But here are some other occasions where Mr. Tom Cruise has been arrogant in weird situations. He tried to be the authority on postnatal depression.
Claire, I was going to ask what Tom Cruise made of postnatal depression.
I know.
I was going to open with that.
In 2005, he told Access Hollywood that Brooke Shields' use of antidepressants to battle postpartum depression was irresponsible. When someone says medication has helped them, he said, it is to cope. It didn't cure anything. There is no science. There is nothing that can cure them whatsoever. Scientology forbids people from using mind-altering substances of any kind, and he suggested women care for themselves with vitamins and exercise. He added, I care about Brooke Shields because I think she is an incredibly talented woman, but look at where her career has gone.
That's not kind.
It's not kind. She responded, Tom should stick to saving the world from aliens and let women who are experiencing postpartum depression decide what treatment options are best for them.
I love Brooke.
It's so true. Now, I'm going to play a tiny bit of an interview that Tom Cruise did with Matt Lauer on Today that was after this Brooke Shields fiasco. And this is the most uncomfortable interaction when he starts talking about drugs in the psychiatric space.
I've never agreed with psychiatry, ever. Before I was a Scientologist, I never agreed with psychiatry. And then when I started studying the history of psychiatry, I started realizing more and more why I didn't agree with psychiatry. And as far as the Brooke Shields thing is, look, you gotta understand, I really care about Brooke Shields. I think here's a wonderful and talented woman. And I want to see her do well. And I know that psychiatry is a pseudoscience.
It's just so uncomfortable.
He strikes me as the kind of guy, because that's what a lot of what this court is about, is working out what kind of man Tom Cruise is.
Vibe. Yeah.
He's the kind of guy, I'm walking down the street later, got a can of Coke in my hand.
Oh, no.
He stops me and he goes, do you know what's in that?
He's going to kill you.
Yeah, it's going to kill you. Got a lot of sugar. He likes to yell facts.
So and they're not true.
They're not true. But I just think he likes to be the most knowledgeable man in the room. So he's the kind of guy who, when he's not talking about Thetans and David, he'll say, Australia is a country and a continent. And it's like, okay, unrelated. But he just likes to know things and yell them. And it's patronising and also annoying.
It is very. We'll submit that into evidence. Next point on the arrogance is trying to teach Tandy Newton how to act. We don't try to teach Tandy Newton how to act. It comes across as rude, Tom.
She's very good.
She's really very good. This is what happened. In 2020, Newton spoke openly to Vulture about what it was like working with Cruise on Mission Impossible 2 in 2000. She said, I was so scared of Tom. He was a very dominant individual. He tries super hard to be a nice person, but the pressure he takes on a lot, and I think he has this sense that only he can do everything as best as it can be done. She then tells...
I've met some men like that, Tandy.
Met a few. This is what she recalls about a particular scene. So they're filming this scene of Mission Impossible 2 on a balcony, and she says that she doesn't think it was a very well-written scene in hindsight. And Tom wasn't happy because she had really bad lines.
Yeah, it's Mission Impossible.
It's Mission Impossible. It's not freaking Shakespeare. He gets so frustrated with having to try and explain that he goes, I'll be you, you be me. So she says, we filmed the entire scene with me being him and him playing me, and it was the most unhelpful. I can't think of anything less revealing. It just pushed me further into a place of terror and insecurity. It was a real shame. She says he was trying his damnedest, but he did do her lines and perform to her what he thought she should be doing.
It's ultimate Tom Cruise.
That's ultimate. Oh, you can't act. Let me show you.
Tom Cruise behaviour. And at the end he said, do you want a rundown of aliens? Are you taking any psychiatric medicines?
Do you want this pamphlet?
Here's a pamphlet, lady. Go and read it. Do you know how to read? That's what I can teach you to read. Scientology helped me.
She knows how to read.
Well, he would just want to check.
He does. Finally, when it comes to arrogance, there's something that happened December last year. Mission Impossible 7.
Too many Mission
Speaking
Impossibles.
of cancellations, too many Mission Impossibles. He's on the set and he loses it and audio gets leaked. He starts yelling at the crew for breaking COVID protocols. Apparently they were crowding around the camera or something like that. And he goes on a 3-minute, 30-second straight rant about COVID protocols. He says, they're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us. Are they? We are creating thousands of jobs. You can tell it to the people that are losing their effing homes because our industry is shut down. And he just yells at people and says, you're gone. If you ever break these rules again, you're gone.
I'm into this.
I have conflicted feelings. My first thought when I actually listened to the audio was this. You're not the COVID police. You're not.
You can't just tell someone they're not the COVID police.
Also,
maybe the COVID marshal was off. Maybe the COVID marshal was incompetent because Tom can spot incompetence and he steps in.
The other thing about this is that earlier in 2020, he did like this weird endorsement of Tenet, the movie. And while he was doing it, he's wearing a mask, but the mask was deemed to not be COVID safe. It's got holes in it. Look, so I just think yelling at people about COVID safety when you have not been consistently COVID safe.
Science is in the name of his religion.
Yeah.
He would be very, very pro COVID existing. I disagree. I reckon that if you're on set, you're creating thousands of jobs for people for Mission Impossible. People are crowding, not wearing a mask. Go, Tom. If we're going to do a lecture, let it be about that.
Okay. And not psychiatric drugs.
Exactly.
Point I. Being too intense. It crosses over a little bit with arrogance, but not completely.
Okay.
We need to talk about the 60 Minutes Australia interview. Peter Overton interviewed Tom Cruise on 60 Minutes in 2005. 2005 is a theme in this section. Overton was asking Cruise about Nicole Kidman.
Valid question, Nicole.
Yeah, and specifically asked if Cruise and Kidman have a relationship where they talk about their professional lives. I'm going to play a snippet of how this happened and just how deeply uncomfortable it was.
Here's the thing, Peter. You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
I suppose they're questions, though,
Peter.
that people want to know.
Peter, you want to know. Take responsibility for what you want to know. Don't say what other people. This is a conversation that I'm having with you right now.
You're right.
Okay. So I'm just telling you right now. Okay? Just put your manners back in.
Do you think I was out of line?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I apologise for that sincerely.
Firstly, I wanted to know too. And everyone wanted to know. And secondly, I would cry. I would cry if I was Peter Overton. I would actually just burst out in tears. Go, I'm sorry, Tom. I'm sorry. He's really scary to journalists. He's really scary. He gets people in trouble. It makes me die inside. It's too intense. It's too intense. Speaking of intense, second example, the water prank. So 2005 wasn't a good year for Tom Cruise. Also that year, he attended the War of the Worlds premiere in London, where the interviewer squirted Cruise with water from a fake microphone.
That's actually very annoying.
It's annoying, but Jesus.
It's not a red carpet now, he's wet.
This is the audio.
That's really... Hey, no. Don't run away. Don't run away. No, that doesn't have to go on. I don't care. That's incredibly rude. I'm here giving you an interview and answering your questions, and you do something really nasty. You're a jerk.
Jessie, he grabs the journalist by the hand and he's like, what's so funny about that?
He speaks to everyone like they're his kid.
Yes.
I do think, though, that spraying someone on a red carpet with water is a dumb thing to do.
But that was such a 2005 vibe. Like pranks? Like MTV.
I hate pranks.
Everything was like Nickelodeon Awards. Like someone gets on a stage, slime. It had to be slime.
But you take one look at Tom and you go, he's not a prank guy. He's not a prank guy.
Well, I felt sorry for the interviewer because the interviewer was clearly like, okay, I regret it. I regret squirting you in the face with water, given that you're being really mad right now. But Tom Cruise just looks at him and he's like, don't run away. It's incredibly rude.
It's a look in the eye for me.
I feel sick watching this. He calls him a jerk, and you can tell that the people around Tom Cruise are trying to de-escalate. They're like, oh, we've seen this before.
It looks like they're worried that he's going to hit someone.
It's really uncomfortable. And can you imagine how scared every other journalist on that red carpet would have been to interview him? Jess, we've done awkward celebrity encounters on red carpets. Oof. There are a surprising amount of celebrities who take themselves too seriously on a red carpet.
Agree.
And
it's like, you're not even that famous.
I
know.
Can't say that. You can't. But you do. You try and make a joke and they go, or they ignore you and keep walking. Just leave. Okay. My final bit of evidence specifically for this part about being too intense is the part we knew we were getting there. It's Oprah's couch jump.
Okay. Well classified.
Firstly, why is Oprah always semi-involved with cancelled people?
Yeah.
Almost every episode, Jess.
She's like, and there was the Oprah interview.
Yeah. She's busy girl. This was again in 2005. I do want this on the record because there is a chance that Tom Cruise just had a bad few months specifically on the promo trail for War of the Worlds.
Okay.
That's where everything bad happened.
Wasn't that a great movie?
It was excellent.
All right.
It was excellent.
I do want to say that.
But he was saving the world, and I think he got a bit confused and thought he was really saving the world when it was just the film.
All right. Yeah.
Jessie, we're going to watch the couch jump moment together.
We've never seen you behave this way before.
I know.
Have you ever felt this way before?
Claire, can you just explain to listeners what we just watched? Because they'll get the audio, but they won't see the part where he keeps getting down on one knee and doing like a Mark Holden style touchdown. Can you explain what's physically going on?
He keeps jumping up. He's practiced. He's practiced jumping on the couch in a swift move. And he keeps wrestling with Oprah. And she clearly isn't strong enough to fight back. So he's doing that thing where he's like just grabbing her by the shoulders or grabbing her by the hand. And she's like, I'm not consenting to this physical touch.
At one stage, he like goes in for a hug and then like hugs her. And then she says something so Oprah, which is like, when you've been hugged by Tom Cruise, you've been hugged.
Yeah, but she's clearly like, get away from me.
The worst part is that he then manhandles Katie onto the stage because he mentions her and being in love, and Oprah's like, where is she? And he runs backstage. Katie Holmes is clearly like, I haven't had my hair and makeup, even though she clearly has had her hair and makeup done. But she's clearly like, I wasn't planning on going on Oprah. I was planning on being backstage. But he grabs her and manhandles her onto the stage, and then they kiss in front of everyone. They had known each other for, at this point, 1 month.
We used to talk as kids, Claire, about having a cringe valve. We think that it exists in our foreheads near our eyes, maybe on the outside. Mm-hmm. And it hurts when things, and I don't like to
get too cringy.
When things get too cringy. That hurts. It's like the cringe valve just really lights up.
It was the first viral moment on the internet. Tom Cruise made viral a thing because everybody was like, I hate this, but I hate it so much I need to share with other people how much I hate it and how cringe it is.
Horrible.
It's horrific. Final section, point F. Women. Look, there are already some strong points in this category. We've got that
branding your ex-wife as a oppressive person,
suppressive person to your children, making Katie Holmes have a silent birth, being rude to Brooke Shields. But lastly, this is the final point, we have something a bit bizarre. And I'm just going to tender it into evidence.
Oh, we can take it or leave it. That's how evidence works.
Tom Cruise divorced his 3 wives once they turned 33. His ex-wives, Mimi Rogers, Nicole Kidman and Katie Holmes were all the exact same age when they filed for divorce from the Mission Impossible actor. Why?
Maybe that's the age that they're like, Scientology's weird. Like maybe there's something that happens. I think that there's a moral or a coda to this story.
Okay.
And maybe it's something along the lines of don't become a Scientologist for a strange man, which is actually universally applicable.
Mm-hmm.
It's about like, don't take up rock climbing for the guy who's not worth it.
Yes.
For the listener, that might be the takeaway.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm feeling here because it's very hard to untangle oneself from Scientology once they are involved.
Yes. And I think 33 was the age where these women went, No.
And they all left. Didn't even Mimi Rogers, she left.
Yeah, she was like, this is weird.
Nicole Kidman was never into it.
And the Mimi Rogers was a Scientologist. And then she was married to Tom Cruise and she was like, nah, this ain't for me.
He's gone too hard.
He's gone too hard, too fast. I just think that that's a weird fact, the 33 thing. Look, there are some theories that 33 is a special symbolic number in Scientology, but I think everybody's looking into it too hard. And I think it's just that 33 is the age where women's bullshit meter really peaks. They go, actually, this is too much bullshit.
Yeah.
I'll be leaving. Jessie, it is time for charges and sentences. I'm going to go for, I actually have 3. Okay, I have 3 as well, but I would like to do a quick caveat.
Okay.
David Miscavige needs to find his wife. She's been missing for over a decade, and that really seems like the most urgent matter here.
So this is an adjacent cancellation.
Yeah, him. And the Church of Scientology.
But he needs to be cancelled.
He needs to find his wife.
Okay.
Can you look?
He needs to look. But maybe the police need to look as well. Because I don't trust David.
Everybody needs to look.
Tom needs to look.
I want your first charge.
All right, my first charge. Being annoying about Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you can practice your own cult.
Mm-hmm.
That is a human right
to be
part of a cult.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. That's fine. You talk about your thetans, you join your Sea Org. I'm into it. But you've been annoying about it. And there are numerous reports.
Yeah, of that.
Okay? He's yapped on a bit. He's really gone on too much, and I don't need his opinion on whether or not I'm an alien.
No.
Because I get to decide that. My sentencing is harsh, but necessary.
Okay.
And it involves David.
Okay.
Miscavige.
Okay.
I think that Tom and David should have a tiff. A little bit of a fight. Not a physical one, an emotional one.
About what?
Scientology.
Okay.
An argument about auditing or something. Mm-hmm. And then I think that they should not speak for 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
Just so, because I think that David might be Tom's only friend.
I don't think that's a thought. I think that's a fact.
Okay. David is Tom's only friend. I think that after the 3 or 4 days of disagreement, they can make up and they can continue being best friends.
Okay.
But I just think that Tom has created a lot of chaos and pain in people's lives.
Yeah.
Like the time he made Katie have a silent birth.
Yeah.
And that this would be a good punishment for being annoying about Scientology.
Okay.
Maybe David tells him to not hand out the pamphlets anymore or something like that.
And he's like, I am the queen of Scientology.
Yes.
I get to hand out my pamphlets.
Exactly. Something like that. Okay, what's your first charge?
My first charge is taking himself too seriously. And my sentence is, Tom's got to make one self-deprecating observation per day.
Claire?
Yep.
That was also my second charge, verbatim.
Oh my gosh!
Second charge, taking himself too seriously. I had examples
Same
such as
words.
Peter Overton and also Oprah and teaching Tandy how to act.
And Matt Lauer.
I said Tom Cruise, very sincere about Tom Cruise.
One time per day, he needs to look in the mirror and say a thing that is self-deprecating. For example, perhaps there are too many Mission Impossibles. Perhaps. Perhaps I am shorter than I lead people to believe.
I had as my sentence, he must make 3 self-deprecating jokes.
Okay. 3 in total.
Yes.
Okay. On repeat?
No, after 3, he can be serious again.
Okay. Considering we had the same one, do you have any more?
Yes, I have my
Okay.
final charge. Getting interviewers in trouble.
Oh, it's so, Jessie, it makes me feel sick.
He has to stop getting people in trouble.
It makes me feel sick.
It feels like a principal and he's got them in his office and he's going, bad interview.
It's a power move.
It's a power move and I don't like it. Mm-mm. So what's the sentence you ask? I think someone needs to get him in trouble. And I think it should be Louis Theroux.
Oh.
Because, you know, he did the Scientology documentary.
Movie. Yep.
I think it just needs to be a 2-hour interview where Louis says, you've been silly. You've been silly. You've hurt some people. You need to stop giving all your money to Scientology. Mm-hmm. I was going to say you're not a Thetan, but he is allowed to believe he's a Thetan.
The thing about Tom Cruise is that, so I watched a lot of interviews prepping for this, and he's not good being interviewed because he's just too serious. There's an interview with Graham Norton, and Graham Norton is clearly asking him to just say some lines from his movies, and Tom Cruise doesn't get it. And Graham Norton makes a joke being like, you've done this for 30 years and you don't understand that I'm asking you to just say the lines. And it's really awkward. And I'm like, that's Graham Norton. He makes everyone look good.
What's your final charge?
My charge is this. Thinking he's saving the world for real when he's just saving the world in his movies.
Well said.
Yes. It's different. Not in real life.
Not in real life.
I think that's why he went so wild on the War of the Worlds promo
because
tour.
of the confusion.
Yeah.
It would be confusing because you're on set a lot and then you come out and you're like, oh, I'm saving the world, I'm running from a disaster. And it's like, that was just in the set.
In the movie. I have always said there's something a bit weird about acting as a profession.
You've got to take yourselves too seriously.
And your whole job is pretending something is real that is not.
Which is inherently an embarrassing thing.
It is. What I'm doing is I'm giving Tom a movie ban for 5 years.
What's he going to do? Well, I think he's going to spend more time like digging ditches and stuff, Claire. I don't think that's a good idea because that's too much Scientology time.
Maybe he can only do comedy.
But he's not funny.
That's why. Because it would really teach him some things. I have a final charge and sentence.
Okay.
Being in an MLM. Okay?
Yes, well said.
An MLM, for anybody who is unsure,
such as Tom Cruise,
is a multi-level marketing scheme.
So it's like when people message you from high school and they say, buy my essential oil.
Buy my skincare that is really
expensive
dodgy.
But doesn't work.
Yes,
yep.
Yes. And also, while you're buying it, why don't you start your own business selling it? Oh, that doesn't sound like my own business. That sounds like me selling your products. It's strange. he is part of an MLM and that MLM is Scientology.
I agree.
Tom's got to stop trying to convert people because I don't think he's doing a very good job. Jessie, that is all we've got time for today.
It is. And we could go on with charges and sentences.
We could forever.
Let us know. If you are a Scientologist, we are so sorry that this episode was so unpleasant for you. We are sorry.
If you're a Tom Cruise fan, I'm sorry. I would like it on the record. Final piece of evidence.
Great actor?
Great actor. Vanilla Sky, excellent film.
Oh, there's a few that are excellent.
War of the Worlds.
Great film.
Excellent film.
No wonder he was living it.
Do I believe that Tom Cruise may be able to save the world from collapse?
Little bit. But the Scientology is holding him back.
It is.
What we need is your sentences and your charges.
And we want to see where you're listening. We have had so many people post photos of where they're listening, send them directly to us or share them on their stories. And it's so enlightening to know what you are doing while you're absorbing this courtroom.
Exactly. We would love to know.
If you did want to perhaps see some of the examples that we've talked about in this episode, Tom jumping on the couch, him yelling at Matt Lauer, him being upset about the water in the face, you can go to @thetwins_thoughts on Instagram because we do put all the evidence in a highlight like they do in real court.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Cancelled. We will be back next week. And if you enjoyed this and you're looking for a smart look at celebrity news, then you will love Mamamia's daily entertainment podcast. It's called The Spill. It's hosted by Laura Brodnick and Kee Reese. The Spill is your daily pop culture fix.
What's the one thing you want to do when you're finished watching an addictive new TV show? Talk about it non-stop, of course.
That's where The Spill's new series, The Watch, comes in. It's the podcast to listen to after you've watched that new TV show that the world can't stop talking about.
In every episode of The Watch, Laura and I, and the odd surprise guest, will deep dive on the show, the best and worst moments, what the ending really means, and share all the behind-the-scenes info you won't find anywhere else.
Follow The Spill now so you don't miss the first episode of The Watch. Coming soon to Mamamia.
Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jessie Stephens. You are Claire Stephens.
Yes.
This podcast was produced by Rose Kerr, and the head of podcasts at Mamamia is Elissa Ratliff. And we will see you on the Mamamia app.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.